five, four, three, two, one.
All systems go.
You're listening to Sudbury News Talk.
I want to show you something.
Stand by.
On the morning shift.
Anything
Could happen.
Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
All systems go.
You're listening to Sudbury News Talk
I want to show you something.
Stand by.
on the morning shift.
anything
Could happen.
Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.
All right, and good morning, everyone. Welcome to this Monday, November the 14th here on Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift. I'm AJ Walsh. Glad to be here with you. We had a little bit of extra intro this morning, courtesy of, just getting set up and getting all the technology going. Wanted to play a couple videos this morning for you, and on the radio the sound should suffice. Without the visual, you should be able to get the idea of what we're going to be putting across this morning. As we go through the headlines, I have a couple videos that go along with what we'll be talking about today. The big news today is the top doctor, quote unquote, Ontario's quote unquote top doctor will be making an announcement urging people to basically wear their masks again. Something to do with it's going to prohibit surgery. It's going to be even more important if it's going to prohibit surgery. I'm not sure exactly how that factors into anything, but we will be talking about that. We'll have the professor on, the professor from North Bay. A new person that I was able to come across, and has a bit of a commentary on that subject today. So yes, good morning, Anne-Marie. Thanks for being with us today from Montreal. Awesome. This is incredible. This is the great thing about this show, is that we can pipe in from all over the world, and people from all over the world do, all over Canada, all over the world. We have the statistics on Facebook that used to tell us. They changed it because it's even better now, that tells you a lot less. Every time they update it to be better, it gets worse on Facebook. Just my point of view. And, it just is worse. So it tells you less. So we used to be able to see more before on the analytics, and just before it changed yesterday with its new update telling us less, it's now we can see even less of the analytics, but they tell you it's even better. So it does all these better things, but it actually is worse. I guess it's a bit of a, metaphor for how the world could be sometimes. And yes, good morning, David. Thanks for joining us this morning. And you can listen to us on CKLU 96.7 FM all the time, no matter what. On the radio, you can stream us on cklu.ca. You just click on the Radio Player Canada logo. The player will open. You can stream us. You can download the Radio Player Canada app as well, and you can listen to us anywhere, anytime on your favorite device, which is great. Not only this show, but all of the great programming that CKLU has to offer. You can take us with you anywhere. And you can watch us live streaming on Facebook, which I'm going to get up here so I can see your comments a little bit easier on my main monitor here. Comments are working today, so as you comment, we will be able to throw them up on the screen. We really love to do that because you are part of the show. This is your show, and it is for you. It is by you, and I'm just facilitating this stuff. The news creates itself each and every day, and we talk about it, we unpack it, we discuss it, and it's usually to do with things that are hyper local. And if there is something that's international or national, when we cover it, it's because it will also affect us here. So today we'll be talking a little bit about, obviously, the top doctor's announcement for today, what that's going to mean. What will we be going backwards in time to how we were handling things previously and handle it the same way? Are we going to bear down and do more? What are we doing? What's going to happen here? So we're going to try and discuss what we can look forward to in the future with how we're handling the type of season that we're in right now. That's usually people are feeling a little under the weather, and so that's normal. That's something I've known for my whole life. That's why they came out with the flu needles. I got to watch words that I say on the show. If you say words that are picked up by algorithms, they will stop sharing the show, because we're not the top doctor and we're not the authority on the situation. So we're not supposed to be talking about it even. So anyways, flu season. So they came out with something they could give us every flu season. And that's been going on for years and years and years and years. And how that's going to now play into the way we're handling things moving forward as a society, I guess, we'll have that announcement today. We'll talk about that. We'll have the weather, sports, headlines, couple videos, like I said, Facebook Live, facebook.com/Sudbury News, YouTube Live, youtube.com/Sudbury News. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, follow, all those wonderful things. It's a way to get the show out there. Facebook is not, we're not in a normal algorithm that they would just let us go. There's a lot of things they've put on us holding it back from being shared. A lot of likes, like my own wife, for instance, she's liked the page about 800 times, but it still doesn't show up. So Facebook is blocking my wife from liking or following the show or the channel or the page, and countless others as well. Members of my other extended family, friends, I noticed they don't show up. So for some reason. So we got to work even extra hard. So that's the story of my life. Work extra hard to get limited results, but the limited results we're going to be thankful for. And that's all we can do is, look, as long as we're here on the conversation, that's good to begin with. The more, the merrier. So we'll try our best to get the word out there. And that's all we can do. So let's start with some weather. We'll get off and running and hopefully have a really good show today. We'll be right back after this. And our weather brought to you by SudburyWeather.ca. Currently, -6. -6. Feels like -11. Welcome to the cold, because that's where we're at. And this is where you get when you live in Northern Ontario. And it's going to get colder, and it's going to get snowier. Good news, I listened to on the way into CBC this morning, talking about the weather. Backyard Bill and another gentleman was on talking about what we can expect, and they said that it could be milder still, less snow coming up at least before Christmas, and so that's good news. Some cold snaps in the winter, those -40 cold snaps for like weeks at a time, a couple of those, but in general, short winter. It'll be an early spring, so my goodness, if that's true, I'm all on board with that one. Mix of sun and cloud today. High is -1. Increasing cloudiness. Wind will be northeast, 20 kilometers, becoming light late this morning. -1 is the high, like I just said. But with the wind chill, it'll feel like -12 this morning and -3 this afternoon. Tonight, a few clouds. The wind will be up to 15 kilometers an hour, so less than we're normally used to even. Low of -9. Wind chill -7 this evening, and then -13 overnight. Tuesday, a mix of sun and cloud. Wind becoming northeast, 20 kilometers in the afternoon. High of -2. The wind chill will be -14. in the morning and -5 in the afternoon. UV index will be 1 or very low. So again, long-term mix of sun and cloud. Tomorrow, high of -2. 40% chance of precipitation on Wednesday. That's coming with a chance of the F word, flurries. And Thursday, chance of flurries, high of -1. Again, the same. Probability of precipitation in 40%. Then it goes up a little bit to goes up to 60% chance of precipitation, the high of 0 on Friday, -4 on Saturday. Again, chance of flurries in 60%, in the 60% range. So same thing for Sunday. So what they're saying is chance of flurries from Wednesday to Sunday from 40% to 60%. I'm pretty much guessing we're going to get a little bit of flurries between now and then. Here's the way your satellite looks over Northern Ontario. It's your usual mixed bag of, cloud and clearing, but mostly cloudy. Where I'm at right now from the studio, it's looks pretty darn clear to me, which is beautiful. Love it. Which hope it stays longer. But anyways, that's the weather brought to you by SudburyWeather.ca. We'll be back with a little bit of sports, some headlines, and our top story today from Ontario's top doctor going to announce something big. And we're all pretty much aware of what that is. But we'll be right back after this with some sports. Our Sudbury Wolves were in action on Friday and Saturday night, and the great news is we came up with 2 W's, 2 wins, which is a lot better than what we've been used to. 2 wins in a row. First coming against the Guelph Storm, and that was 6-3. Quentin Musty put up an impressive game then on Friday. And that game was right here on CKLU 96.7 FM. Then the next night, you'd think they'd be tired and lethargic and not able to perform, but my goodness, they whooped the Kitchener Rangers 6-1. Headline: suddenly surging, the Wolves defeat Kitchener in convincing fashion. And so you were able to catch that game right here. Not sure if it was on Eastlink or not, but so good news for the Wolves awaiting their new coach, Derek McKenzie, making his way up from Florida, just having to work out a few of the details coming up here. But again, that sometimes infuses some excitement into the players and the culture and everything like that. It just takes a little bit of that sometimes just to make the difference. They do have a really good team. They're a really great young team. They're one of the youngest, fastest teams that are out there. They don't have the experience. That's the thing, right? So they just have to get that. So the excitement of the new coach coming in possibly could have been the reason for their 2 W's they got. But anyway, 6-3, 6-1. Let's hope for more of that going forward. They continue to play at home before they hit the road. We'll have more on that tomorrow as we talk more about the Sudbury Wolves. But congratulations to the Sudbury Wolves on their 2 wins, as hopefully they can crawl out of the basement. And, we really would love them to make the playoffs this year, because that just makes it exciting for the fans, exciting for the city. And we need a winning team. That's what Dario Zulich said when he announced Derek McKenzie as the coach. We need a winning team. We need something to rally around and be excited for. And I agree with that too. So we'll be right back with some headlines and some really interesting videos and some insights into our headlines right after this. us, and we're looking at some of the comments coming in already. We talked about, I think, Facebook in general and what it was, what it felt like it was doing. Well, it is doing it because I know I have firsthand experience with them not sharing or not allowing certain people to follow, not letting certain people know that we have the live videos going on. Whereas other shows and other pages, they seem to just be able to just go and do whatever they want. And I think that is because we're not afraid really to discuss anything. And there's algorithms out there that monitor, and just finishing university myself, talking about monitoring and moderating the page. There's definitely a large push out there to moderate more, because when people make comments on Facebook, it was hurting certain people's feelings. And I say certain people because it's okay to hurt some people's feelings, it seems like, and that's perfectly fine. But there's certain other segments that if you hurt their feelings, then you need to moderate and censor. So it's very lopsided. It's one-sided. I could call it reverse discrimination in some ways, but I know there's a segment of the population that's adverse to that terminology. But we're going wholeheartedly after certain segments of the population. It's okay to discriminate against, because the argument is that segment of the population was the one discriminating for years and years and years. So it's okay to discriminate against them now, because they need to have some of their own medicine, which never ends up well at all. Discriminating, period, isn't good no matter what to anybody, because we are all equal and we all deserve the same respect and all deserve the same chances and opportunities in life. Not one segment deserves it more or less based on somebody's theory. But that's kind of like the way it's happened. So I believe it was Minik here who said, Bill C11, good morning. None of us are being heard. C11. Yeah, that's Minik and Jerome. The government overreach again. Yeah. And with that, good morning, Brian. Thanks for joining us. And that is, and it's going to get, seems like it's on the way to getting more and more. Just recently, the United States is currently still in an election, which to me raises, I don't know, I ask questions. There's flags there, right? Supposed to be the most free nation in the world, that's gone around policing other nations for years and years and years, making sure they have democratic elections, supposed to be the most secure and the most trusted election. They have like multiple areas where they're still counting the ballots from last Tuesday's election. So states that have even more people and more voters and more ballots to count had them counted that night. They were counted. And go back to when you were young, or you might still be young. I guess I'm speaking to myself. If I think back when I was young, up until a few years ago, elections just took place during that day. You knew the winner. You might have had to stay up a little later than you were used to get the results, but they always came in. So there was always results from the election the same day. And now we're trying to get used to this idea of extended days of counting, only for certain areas, though. Like certain areas are able to do it, other areas aren't. And the reasons they give aren't really ones that resonate with me anyways, that are legitimate reasons. And it just opens up questioning. So, and if you start questioning, then this is what's happened in the United States. They've made it illegal to question the legitimacy of the voting process. So if you say, oh, looks like something could have happened there that was like, for instance, in Nevada, they had one of the polling stations where the camera went down for 17 hours, or it was either 7 or 17, one or the other, overnight. The camera went out. So it's supposed to be transparent. You're supposed to be able to chime in and look. Anyways, and the camera's not working. So you're wondering why. Well, they said, well, that's because it's part of a computer system that goes to sleep for that period of time. And that's why the camera went down. Well, the camera's there so people can watch and make sure that nothing nefarious is going on. And so that excuse or that reason really doesn't make any sense. Why would they put it as part of a system that goes to sleep and then the cameras go out? So now, even if I alone, and I'm not a citizen of the United States, but anyways, I've heard others, countless others, wondering what's going on there. Just the idea of people questioning what's happening creates a non-confidence in the system. And when you have no confidence, that's when things start unraveling, if you don't have confidence in the system. And, you know, it's just, it's sad. It's a really sad situation. So Jerome says, allopathic practitioners in the cancer industry told him that he would be dead within 3 years if he didn't take their treatments. And he's still here after 10 years. Congratulations. Can the doctor explain that one? Yeah, and we're going to get to that too. So I guess I just went on a bit of a rant. The reason being is because we're talking about government overreach. And so the United States now have just made it illegal for anybody to question the legitimacy of the voting. So it goes to show you now, right? So things aren't looking right. People start questioning. So then the government comes back and says, oh, yeah, if you question anything, you're going to jail. So that now turns into what we've been talking about. I'm still wearing the poppy today. And in a free land, you should be able to question things. I think that's the whole idea, right? But you start questioning things, and then laws start coming out making it illegal to question things, which is, I don't know, what do you know, here's a comment from Jerome about his health situation a few years ago. Miles says, mail-in ballots still coming in, and overseas mail-in ballots still coming in. Postmarked, yeah. So I don't know. I'm not that smart of a person, but why can't they put a deadline on those? Why does it have to go over the deadline and make the election go on for weeks and weeks and weeks? I'm not that smart of a guy. I'm not in a government. I'm not the leader of a province, state, or anything. Do you think they could have made a deadline? And said, have your votes in by this time or they don't count, like they used to do? They always had overseas voting. Military has always been able to vote. Citizens have always been able to vote where they live in another country and they vote. But why does it have to go so many days and weeks over the deadline now? Why is it so, open-ended? There's no reason for that. There is laws questioning their elections. I guess Trump is going to jail. So here's another thing. Since when have you seen the FBI be weaponized on a former president, regardless of whether he has orange skin or his hair looks like roadkill? It doesn't matter. A former president, for declassified documents that they could have had a subpoena go out and say, here. So they weaponized the FBI. They went in and used a government organization to make a political statement in the media just before the midterm elections. The timing was amazing. Amazing. So if you look at some of the nefarious things that are going on down there with an open mind, and you understand freedom, and you understand communism, and you understand forms of government, and you understand tactics that certain forms of government use, you can see a lot of communistic tactics being used, whether or not you like the orange man or you like the child sniffer, either one that takes showers with his daughter. Either one, you can say bad things about. You can have a list of either one, but it's what they're doing with their government that I think the people should be more concerned about. It's what they do with their station, with their mantle, with what they've been given, what the people voted them in to do. People need to be concerned with what they do with what they have and not be partisan. I used to say I never liked the Donald, never liked him before he was in, but I started having to defend him all the time because the media came out and was so blatantly disregarding facts, and they were so bent on getting him out of there and just defaming his name and just making, I had to start defending the guy because the media was not doing their job. They weren't being unbiased. They weren't just reporting. You can tell they were totally trying to use every opportunity to discredit, taking things out of context all the time. I still hear people today saying he's making fun of people with disabilities. And that's been so debunked so many times that it was taken way out of context. They took him doing like a gesture, talking about something different, and said he was making fun of someone with disabilities. You just have to go look yourself, and without a biased mind or without just taking whatever the media is telling you to see those things. So I would be very concerned about our state of affairs. But if you like communism, which a lot of people do, I have a lot of close friends who love communism. They want the government to take more control and to tell us more what to do because we can't think for ourselves or do things for ourselves. And that's fine. That's where we're going. If you want a communist society, we're already there pretty much in Canada. The States is going full bore into that area of governing, taking that model, if you will. They're just going there. And the signs of a little bit of the things I was just talking about just point to that. So, always question authority. Yes, exactly, Jerome. That's what I would say. Always question your assumptions. Question yourself. Question why you think certain things. Where does it come from? Did I think of that myself? Did it come from something I heard? And who did I hear it from? And did I question it? And did I look into it? So that's always good to do. I already shared that from Miles. I don't suppose to understand all their laws down there, but I really never heard of questioning their elections being arrested. Okay, no problem. I'll have that on the show tomorrow. Statement from the FBI. Go on the FBI's website and search out, just go into Google and do a little bit of research. I'll believe it when I see it. There is laws questioning elections? Okay, yes. So again, there's a lot of people who hate Donald Trump. There's a lot of people who hate Joe Biden. If you looked into any of their lives, really, if you looked into their lives, not with the glasses, not with a certain glasses on, take your glasses off that you have your bias glasses, look into their lives, pretend you're a journalist, and you'll uncover all kinds of things, even including our own prime minister. There's people who hate him, people who love him. You cannot deny some of the things he's done in the past that are out and out. If Don Cherry would have had a picture of him in blackface, Don Cherry, like the guy said, you people, and he was canceled and fired and whatever. But we have a prime minister who went out twice in blackface, and it's totally documented and whatever. That's just one. I'm just going to share. That's just one thing. He's done many things, and he's done good things too, because he's not Satan. So that's the point I'm making. Like we usually take the party or the ideology that we look at, and we go on that, and the other side can either do no good or do no wrong, when really it's just not true. It's just not true. People have done good, and they've done bad. As bad as people feel about Donald Trump, if you look at his political record and his policies and the things that he put in place while he was president, even though I'd never liked him before, I actually thought he did a good job at being president. And you have to ask yourself the same thing if you're a Joe Biden supporter, and you look at the state of the economy now. Ask yourself about his policies and how everything is going now without listening to the media. Like, look into it yourself. And I know it's hard not to get biases from the media, because how are you going to get information, right? The media is there, and shame on them. That's the thing. That's what they're supposed to do, is give good information that's not biased. But CNN is Democrat, Fox is Republican. If we're talking states, everything in Canada is liberal and NDP, other than internet media. So it's hard. It's hard to really dig down. But you can just look at the facts. Our current prime minister is the most investigated prime minister of things that he's done that are arguably criminal. That's a fact. There's never been a prime minister who's been investigated as many times for as many things. You have to go look that up now that I said that. Don't take my word for it. So that's a fact. Whether you like him or disdain him, that is a fact. Does he have great hair? Some of the best hair I've ever seen in my life. The guy's a great looking guy. Like, he's one of the best looking guys, that we could have had as a prime minister. So that's a good thing, right? Being good looking, I guess, like, goes along. Got him elected, because I did talk to a lot of people about why they voted for Prime Minister Trudeau in the first place. They said, well, I love his hair. Many people said that. That's why we have Prime Minister Trudeau as our prime minister, because of his looks. So it tells you a little bit about society that we're in too, right? How much looking into things. A good friend of mine who's been on the show quite a few times too, talked about why he voted for mayor. He voted for our current mayor because he recognized his name and he didn't know any of the other names, and so he voted for him. And that's why I called it out right at the beginning when Paul Lefebvre put in his name to be mayor. I said it's his, because I know the way people vote. They vote for name recognition. It is what it is. Like, that's a fact. And he's in, just like I said. And he got a huge majority of the votes too, on top of that. Because he has the name recognition. People just heard his name. They go to the ballot. They say, oh, that name sounds familiar. I've heard that before. I guess I'll vote for him. And that's the way people vote. Yeah. So, Miles, you're still on that topic of that they're making it a criminal offense to question the elections. Yeah, just keep Googling it. Prove me wrong. How about that? Prove me wrong. Show me that it's not. But I will tomorrow. I guess if I have time in my free time while I'm working a full-time job and trying to do this, also try and find that information out. No matter what, if you don't see that your freedoms are slipping away, I don't know what to say. It's like saying the sun, it's right out there. Can you see it? It's pretty evident. And speaking of that, let's get into our headlines. Registered nurses in Sudbury seek solutions to staffing crisis. So we talked about that before, right? Let's see. What could we do to solve the staffing crisis here in our hospital with nurses? How many did we fire because they didn't go along with the mandate? I wonder how that would impact the staffing situation. Now, next headline. Unvaxxed, unionized City of Toronto staff to get jobs back. Oh, City of Toronto had an idea of how they could help their shortage of city workers, hire back those that were let go due to not being unvaxxed. City of Toronto is prepared to rehire 350 unionized workers let go over their COVID-19 decision, I guess you can say. I'm going into the story here now, of not to be vaccinated. It's going to ask me if I want to go to the page, and it's going to take a long time, so we're just going to head off on this one. Here we go. Ontario's top doctor to ask public to mask up as respiratory illness rage. Sources. So, Ontario's top doctor, first of all, top doctor, tells you he's the smartest doctor who we have. He's the top doctor. Is that the official terminology of his position? Top doctor? Or just an alias? To ask public to mask up as respiratory illness rage. Sources say. So let's go back and see if we can find this one. We want to follow the link with Toronto deciding to hire back some of the people that were let go. Good morning, Julia. Glad to have you with us. And Monique says, just retire your staff. So that's the nursing shortage, I guess. Comment for that. Okay. Yeah, that's true. They're trying to stop people from being extreme and questioning the elections that take a month now, all of a sudden, to happen instead of happening the same day. That's extreme to question. So the City of Toronto is prepared to rehire 350 unionized workers let go over their COVID-19 vaccination status. As of December 1st, the city is dropping its mandatory vaccination policy for city workers, volunteers, and contractors. Based on recent arbitration and negotiations with unions, the approximately 350 unionized city employees who either did not disclose their vaccination status or did not get vaccinated will be offered reinstallment into an unpaid leave. A statement released Tuesday said, as such, those staff who are on unpaid leave will also be eligible to start to return to the workplace when the updated policy comes into effect on December 1st. The city says 73 non-union employees who had their employment terminated due to non-compliance with the mandatory vaccination policy will not return to the workplace. Well, I would think out of 350, there would be at least 37 that have gone on to find other jobs in that time, I would think. Makes sense. Toronto ordered all staff to be vaccinated with at least 2 doses of the COVID-19 vaccine by October 30th, 2021, or show proof of valid exemption, saying the new policy demonstrated a commitment to taking every precaution to protect staff and visitors in city workplaces. Currently, 99% of the city staff are fully vaccinated, the city says. I wonder if Sudbury is going to be following that, the lead of Toronto. With that, we currently still have the policy. If you're going to apply for a city job, you also need to have the jab. Jerome, how about punitive damages being paid out for discrimination faced for being responsible for one's own health? And Brian says, I would not trust sending cash in the mail. Why would I trust voting electronically or mail-in ballot? Okay, cool. Yeah, we're going to still be lingering on with that because I went on that bit of a rant before about trusting in and questioning the validity of the voting system. Has voter fraud ever happened anywhere in the world before, do you think? Ever? Once? Voter fraud once? Ever? In any country? At any time? Possibly once? Maybe? So one time voter fraud could have happened? Okay, what about two? Maybe three? When? Where? How? Who? Who is involved in it? How does it happen? Can it happen today? Is it possible to hack into a computer from somewhere? Is it even, can we even question that? Should we want to know 100% if these things are 100% secure? What's at stake if they're not? Good to know. I like to know. Ontario Premier Doug Ford urges masking. Stop short of imposing mandate. So Premier Doug Ford asking residents to mask up yesterday, but stop short of mandating. So, looks like, remember when Justin asked us just give him 2 weeks? Just give him just 2 weeks and we'll get this thing sorted out. And now we're over 3 years later and it's all kinds of stuff happening. It'd be good to do the post-mortem on the decisions that were made all throughout everything without getting emotional, without, feeling that emotional attachment to things where I'm right and you're wrong. And just really discuss it and really understand it and look at the facts. Toronto, as pediatric hospitals across Ontario deal with an unprecedented surge of very sick children, Premier Doug Ford asked residents to mask up on Sunday, but stopped short of mandating the practice. Now, do you remember when it first all started? What segment of the population were they using to, I guess, pull at everyone's heartstrings to get everybody to follow wearing masks or getting the jab in the first place? Do you remember that at all? What segment of the population they were really pushing? Seniors in seniors' homes, long-term care facilities. So they were like, if you love your grandma and you don't want them to whatever, you better follow this because they're very susceptible. And then they showed on the news, the long-term care facilities having issues and things. So that was the first round using the elderly. So now pediatric hospitals across Ontario deal with an unprecedented surge of very sick children. Premier Doug Ford asked residents to mask up on Sunday, but stopped short of mandating the practice. Chief Medical Officer of Health, Dr. Kieran Moore, is set to make the announcement today where he'll recommend the public don masks regularly. At a rare Sunday news conference on an unrelated issue, the Premier laid the groundwork for the top doctor's message. Wear a mask every time possible, Ford said while speaking at a gas station in West Toronto. He also urged members of the public to get their flu shots and to be up to date with their COVID-19 vaccinations. Not to take vitamin C, not to take vitamin D, vitamin K, or eat your organic chicken soup broth that would really help your immune system. He left that out for some strange reason. Two government sources have told the Canadian press Moore will not announce a mask mandate on Monday, but will just issue a plea to wear masks. Now, what's that going to do to citizens now? I'll tell you. So you're going to be in the grocery store and you're going to have the evil looks from the person wearing their mask. the virtue signalers between each other going, we're doing what we're supposed to do for everybody, but you're not. And there's going to be the shaming, public shaming. They know all this stuff. And so just expect that wherever you go. So yeah, seniors, Miles. Correct answer. Seniors and children. There's no other way to get people's heartstrings pulled to urge them to do it for them, do it for them. But that's just the way that it goes. Ford said he spoke to 7 unnamed hospital CEOs on Friday. Why are they unnamed? Why are sources saying it, but we don't know who the sources are? Anyways, no one told me they wanted mandatory masking, he said. I have confidence in the system, and yes, there will be bumps on the road, and we're working on solutions every single day. Healthcare officials have increasingly been calling for the province to implement a mask mandate. On Saturday, Hospital for Sick Children CEO Dr. Ronald Cohn said he would welcome universal masking. There's no question that would help, he said. So I wonder what our director of public health here in Sudbury would say. Sutcliffe is her last name. She made over $800,000 last year. I'm wondering why. Why so much in the COVID year the director of public health would make in Sudbury? She did some overtime. She had to do some Zoom meetings. She wasn't able to take a vacation, is what the media told us. And I think that's what every single person that was working in COVID had to do. I don't think they made over $800,000. But I question. I wonder why. It's just something I wonder. Jerome, us old folks, I'm 64 and have learned in the past 12 years to limit interactions with modern Western medicine. And Minnick says unions are asking for mandates again. So the unions as well. Unions and governments and healthcare, they're all institutions, right? And they all have reasons for doing what they're doing. So guess what we get to look forward to? Mask mandates coming up soon, even though they're saying no mandate, but that's the way it starts, right? So you got to say, don't worry, it's not a mandate, but it's you better do it, because I mean, you're going to put everyone in at risk and in danger if you don't. Yeah, but tell you what, put on a mask and sneeze, and take a light, and make sure and just video it and see what comes out of your mask. And yeah, so it's still debatable how good masks work, but people get emotional about it. It works if you are on that side, and it doesn't work if you're on the other side and you're just emotional about it. But really, do your own experiments. Put something on in the kitchen that smells like something, put a mask on, see if you still smell it. I don't know, do some stuff like that. I don't know, like you said, sneeze in your mask, cough through your mask, and do your own little experiments and see, look into it. But for now, the government, the one-size-fits-all solutions, is telling everybody that's what you should do. So let's check in what the professor has to say about all this stuff. So 800,000 pharmaceutical minion. Okay, yes. That's on the director of public health here in Sudbury on their salary. We heard that before. 2 weeks to flatten the curve. Yes, exactly. So let's see what the professor's got to say about all this. Now, this is not a real professor. This is somebody's title, almost like Bill Nye, the science guy. He's not a scientist. He's a character. This is the same thing. So, but this is a guy from North Bay, I found out. and he's talking about masks. So let's just check in on him. We'll be right back.
And today's Sunday, January 23rd, 2022. It's 6:07 and 40 seconds, a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And this is my perspective on N95 face masks. So let's hop to it here. I am currently educating doctors and nurses on the life-threatening and serious risk of wearing N95 face masks. The Canadian government is currently forcing students, teachers, and hospital staff to wear them. Doctors today are a joke. I think they all got their doctorate degrees out of a Cracker Jack box, or maybe a Kinder Surprise diploma mill. N95 face masks are made for construction and will cut off and constrict natural airflow, which the body needs to function and flow smoothly. You are only supposed to wear N95 face masks for a short period of time, then replace them, and they are expensive. N95 face masks are difficult to breathe in, better sealed, but expect an increase in hypoxia, premature dementia, headaches, gum disease, can cause stroke, and even death. That is the warnings on the box, and they do not prevent corona, and that is a fact. According to my 2019 theory on airborne viruses, which was recently proven in scientific journals, I recently interviewed a friend of mine who did construction in his past and had to wear N95 face masks for short, intermittent periods of time. Long story short, in result of wearing N95 face masks, he now suffers from premature dementia, and he is very young. That is the reason why I keep telling doctors and nurses that I have like a third-degree black belt in science and computers, and can do cartwheels around doctors. Most people go to work maladjusted after their weekend intoxication and can't even make any sense out of a Monday morning. Myself, I had never drank alcohol, had never smoked, and had never done drugs in my entire life. It is not about the length of your life. It is about the quality of life and the people who share your presence. I am a Mensa student with above and beyond average intelligence and passing my college course diligently with highest honors. I am like 6'4", and taller men in the Stone Age were known to be dominant leaders with bigger hearts and brain capacity. The taller humans also have higher IQs, produce higher than normal growth hormone, which makes all that possible. And if you look into history, way back in the Paleolithic era, taller men were the thinkers and the ones with the ideas. That created and developed tools to live off the land and catch prey. I consider myself a big thinker, and most people would follow my lead on a lot of things. I also have a lot of followers trying to replicate my work, writings, and scientific creations, and that is okay, since I don't like to hoard and like to share. I really hope you enjoy listening to my videographies. My video diaries mean a lot to me. This is Professor Will, CBMD PhD, scientist, researcher, philanthropist, and writer. My videos are created for educational purposes only. Have an awesome day.
That was Professor Will at professorwill.ca, but he's right out of North Bay. I just thought he's got something going on there. I think if his audio was a little bit clearer, I think he's got a real thing going on, where he could take something and just, with tongue in cheek, a little bit of sarcasm in there. He's this character. He's like Bill Nye the Science Guy, but he's like a scientist, author, and philanthropist, he says. I just thought he's got something going on. Anyways, and his little rant on N95 masks and sometimes wearing them too long could actually cause damage was interesting. And he said things that were on the box of N95 masks. He's hard to hear. I acknowledge, but if his audio was a little bit clearer, the way that he delivers it, I just thought was very comedic, and he's got something going on. You can catch him at professorwill.ca. and he's just doing his thing. I don't think that many people have caught on to him yet. And, you know, it's the same thing that I felt about Frankie, who does the weather from Cape Breton. He's an autistic young man who tells people to prepare for, you know, devastating weather related things. And he gives his weather reports, and I found him early on. And then the Weather Network got a hold of him too and put him on. And then now he's got his own bobblehead doll and all kinds of things. I look at this particular gentleman in the same light. I think he's got something going on. But anyways, so he's not, I don't think, a true scientist or anything like that. But he said he has a 3rd degree black belt in science, which I thought was a really funny saying. Anyways, I guess I'm really suffering from dementia since I've been wearing a N95 mask. Yeah, exactly. And for hours at a time, work for over 2 years now. Yeah, and that's what he said. He knew a guy in construction who now suffers from dementia from wearing the N95 mask. So I guess not to take it too seriously, obviously, and I hope you can catch the sense of humor there. And I hope we don't lose our sense of humor through all of this stuff. And I hope we don't go down this road of, you know, antagonistic, you know, the way we treat each other and stuff. But that's all the time we got for today. So remember to love and appreciate everyone and their perspectives. And remember, we are all we got. And so it's great for us to get along and recognize things for what they are. And we're all in the same boat. We all want the same things. And thanks for listening today. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, follow, all that stuff. And get the word out there. Thanks for being with us. Stay tuned now for Earshot Daily. And we'll be back same time, same place tomorrow. And I'll share another video that I was supposed to share today, but didn't have a chance. And it's kind of a funny one. So stay tuned for that tomorrow. Have a great one, everyone. Ciao.
This is Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.